Hakeem Jeffries' uncle was well known, especially in New York, for his controversial remarks. Among the things Leonard Jeffries said, he claimed that rich Jews financed the slave trade. He said that Jewish Hollywood executives, quote, planned and plotted a conspiracy to denigrate black Americans in their films. He was condemned back in those days by the Anti-Defamation League, by then Governor Mario Cuomo. After a lengthy legal battle, he left his position at the City University of New York. How had the politician, Hakeem Jeffries, explained this in the past?
So Jeffries has downplayed his associations with the past, and I want people to read this quote that he gave to the Wall Street Journal in 2013, in which he says there was no internet during that era, and I can't even recall a daily newspaper in Binghamton, New York, but it wasn't covering the things that the New York Post and Daily News were at the time. Jeffries has made similar comments over the years, most recently in 2019 to the Axe Files podcast. Take a listen to this.
My father made a deliberate decision to try to shield us from that controversy because he was very concerned as to how it could just impact our well-being, our focus, because it was an intense situation. I've said that there are many statements that he has made that I disagree with and that obviously are very different than the course that I've followed, and I've sort of left it at that.
So that is Hakeem Jeffries to David Axelrod. In the earlier quote you read, sort of keeping this at an arm's length. I don't really know that much about it. I don't agree, but I don't know much about it. But you went to Binghamton University. That's where Hakeem Jeffries went to college. And you found he had actually written about his uncle and Louis Farrakhan back then when he was 21 years old as a student. What did you find?
Yeah, that's right. So Jeffries and the Black Student Union actually invited his uncle to speak on campus. And then after Jewish student groups protested, Jeffries led a press conference defending his uncle. That obviously undermines that quote we just read from the Wall Street Journal a little bit earlier, where he said he could not even recall local press coverage of this. He actually led a press conference. He then wrote this editorial where he defended him, and I'm just going to read a couple lines from it. He says, Dr. Leonard Jeffries and Louis Farrakhan have come under intense fire. Where do you think their interests lie? Dr. Leonard Jeffries has challenged the existing white supremacist educational system and long-standing distortion of history. His reward has been a media lynching complete with character assassinations and inflammatory, erroneous accusations.
So that is very different how he reacted, responded, wrote back then to what he says, what he has said. What about today? Now that you have this reporting, how is Leader Jeffries responding?
So we did reach out to his office yesterday. We asked, if there were any inconsistencies that he saw between what he said in 2013, what he said in 2019, and what the actual record shows. They didn't respond to those questions, but they did give us a statement where they said Leader Jeffries has been clear that he does not share the controversial views espoused by his uncle over 30 years ago.
So distance again, but not a direct reaction at all to the specific reporting that you have and your K-File team has, Andrew Kaczynski.